Hey guys, this is Chris from Prima Software, and this is a quick reference guide on purchasing. I'm going to show you how to check the requirements list to purchase items for your customers. I'll show you how to create a PO from scratch so you can purchase items for stock. I can show you how to edit an existing PO, and then I'll show you some extra tools to help you with purchasing as well. So we're going to go ahead and buy from the requirements list first. So to find that, that's over here in POP for purchase order processing and then requirements. So this is the requirements list. This is a list of all the items needed to fulfill your outstanding purchase orders right now, outstanding sales orders, I should say. So there's a bunch of filters on here that you can use to find what you need. You can filter by particular vendor to see which items are defaulting to a particular vendor right now. I would always set the status to requested and requested only, so that way you're only seeing items that need to be purchased. These other statuses here might show you ordered, like something that's already been ordered, or allocated, something that you already have in stock. We usually don't need to see those, so I would just choose requested. You can also use the source number. That's going to be the sales order number if you're looking to purchase a particular sales order. Or just like everywhere else in Prima, you can click on the orange bar up here at the top. It'll open up a whole bunch of other filters for you to use. So these are the lines. These are each of the items needed to fulfill your sales orders. You'll be able to see the sales order number here in reference, as well as the product number and description. You'll be able to see the pack size, and then you'll be able to see what your own inventory levels are. So you have quantity requested. That's what the customer needs on their sales order. You have quantity outstanding, which is what has yet to be fulfilled. So we need 3 more. We haven't purchased anything yet. Quantity allocated is what you already have in stock allocated for this order. Quantity unordered, or quantity on order, I should say, is what's already been ordered for this customer here. So since this is 0, we have not ordered this item for this customer yet. And then own inventory is your own outstanding inventory. And it looks like in this case we do have some on hand here. And then if you scroll to the right, you'll see the vendor that if you were to purchase it, it would purchase from. So this item is assigned to SB Richards at the moment. You would purchase this item from Ascendant, and so on. And then if you scroll to the right, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here, like the date. It'll tell you the purchase cost, and then it'll tell you the company you're about to buy it for, all sorts of stuff in there. So the order of these columns is probably different than what you have on your screen. So if you'd like to rearrange it, you can click and drag the columns around and move them around that way. Or what you can do is right click and say show hide reorder columns. And that way you'll be able to click and drag around the exact order that you put these columns in. And then just hit apply changes once you're done. And then after you hit apply changes, you always want to right click and click on save as well. Now, unfortunately, it will take a second here to load just because this is a test database and it's got a lot of old data on here. So it's got a lot to load. So we'll just give it a second. There we go. Yeah, so if you were to reorder the columns, you would want to save changes, or save settings, I said here. And then it'll make it solidify for next time you open the requirements list. So if you want to see the details of a particular item or swap the vendor of a particular item, you would highlight the one you want. So we can see this BSN item is only from Ascendant. I'm sorry, from SP Richards here. But if we wanted to change that vendor, what you could do is double click on it. It'll open up the requirements page here. And here's where it'll tell you which vendor you're about to purchase it from, SP Richards. And then it'll have a list of suppliers down here at the bottom. So if we click on the suppliers tab, it'll show you that SP Richards is our only supplier available right now. But if we scroll to the right, it'll also show us the account numbers. So if you have different account numbers set up for SP Richards, you could double click and decide which one you want to purchase from. So let's say this middle one is good, or maybe the top one because it's the cheapest. You'll be able to see the cost right here as well. Double click on it. You'll see a red outline appear here just to kind of indicate that it changed. And then you just want to hit save. So if this particular item was available from multiple vendors, like if it was from SP and Ascendant, you would see multiple lines for SP for each of the account numbers, and then also multiple lines for Ascendant in each of those account numbers. In the case where maybe it's not available from SP or Ascendant, and you want to switch to an alternative item number, you can go to alternatives right here. It'll tell you any alternative or like comparable items that you can swap to instead. So if our BSN item was out of stock somewhere, we could just double click on one of these items here and it'll go ahead and swap over to this item, and sometimes swap over the vendor if it's only available from a certain vendor. And then you'll be able to see the cost and everything if you scroll to the right as well. Something else that's useful to change on this page is the auto purchase. So if you have auto purchasing set up on your database, there's 3 options here. You have yes, no, and scheduled. So yes, if you left it as yes, it would go ahead and immediately pick up this, this item and purchase it via EDI from whichever vendor and whichever account code you're about to purchase it from. I wouldn't recommend that you set it to yes, just because it goes immediately, and almost always you want it to go on a particular time. So if you do want to auto purchase it, I would always leave it as scheduled. So that way it'll pick up on an auto purchase schedule that you can set up in admin. And that'll pick it up at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 2:30 or whatever time you have set in there. If you're not sure what your auto purchase schedule is, I would check admin or give us a call and we can help you set it up if it's not set up already. But if you don't want this to auto purchase, if you just want it to stay in your requirements until you manually click the purchase button, you would leave this as no. And so that way it won't pick up. Go ahead and save that. But cool. Go ahead and go back to our requirements list here. So if you do have an auto purchase schedule set up, all of these items would automatically pick up on whichever schedule they're a part of. So you can set different schedules for SP Richards. Any item that has SP Richards, it'll go ahead and pick up and send to SP. Or you can set a different time or the same time for Ascendant items, stuff like that. If there isn't a auto purchase schedule set up, you can manually purchase them and send them via EDI as well. So what you want to do is highlight the items you want to buy. I'll highlight these 2, and then click on purchase down here at the bottom. This will give you like an "Are you sure?" kind of page. And what's important on this page is this automatically authorize EDI orders tick mark here. So if you leave this ticked on as it is now and click on purchase right here, it will actually transmit over to SP Richards and place a real order with them. But if you untick this and click on purchase, it won't send it over to SP. It'll create an outstanding purchase order that you'll be able to make changes to before you do send it over. So if you do want to purchase it, tick this on. If you want to send it later, tick this off. I'll go ahead and turn it off for now and click on purchase. It'll say process completed. Those two items will be removed from our requirements list because they've been put on a purchase order. And then a new purchase order will be created over in POP and then orders. And we'll take a look at that in a sec here. Something else I would like to point out before we go is this cheaper column right here. So what Prima does is it can look at all of the vendors and all of the account codes for those vendors you have available for each item. And if it logs one of those account numbers as being cheaper, it'll go ahead and tell you that, yes, there is a cheaper vendor available. So it'll also show you the vendors at the bottom of the screen here. So at the moment, if we scroll over, this vendor is Ascendant currently. But if we look at the list of suppliers down here, we can see that one of them is cheaper for $30, for example. And so there we can just go ahead and swap over to that one. But yeah, let's go take a look at those purchase orders now. We'll go over to POP and then orders, and I'll show you all the purchase orders. The lookup for those purchase orders are pretty similar to the sales order one. You can look for the vendor that purchase order is with. You'll look for the status of the order, or if you know the purchase order number, you can type that in here. Or like everywhere else, you can click on the bar up at the top and open up a whole bunch of more filters. Or you can just leave everything blank and hit search, and I'll show you everything. So if we order by the most recent purchase order number here, we'll see that the top one is the one that I created. You'll have the creator right here. The vendor is SP Richards, like we did. And so we'll go ahead and double click on this to open that up. Cool. So this is the purchase order. In the summary tab, it'll give you, of course, just a summary of everything on the purchase order. Some of the more important things on this page is going to be the vendor reference field right here. This is where you can type in the vendor's order number. So if SP or Ascendant give you their own order number, you can type that in here. But if you do send it over to them via EDI, they'll put this for you in there automatically. So you don't have to touch this one in that case. You have another spot for our reference, which is just a blank field where you can put in anything else you need. You'll also have receipt to and vendor shipping. Receipt to is going to check if there's other shipping methods available. So this one says standard at the moment, but there could be wrap and pack or drop ship in here as well if those are available for this item and for this customer. Or there's going to be other account codes for Ascendant, not Ascendant, SP here. So if you click on this, it'll tell you all of Ascendant's different account numbers. You can pick between them if you want to change that now. Something else that might be important on this page is the Buy More button over here. So if you purchased something from the requirements list and you forgot to add something, you wanted to add one more item before you go, you can click on Buy More. It'll pull up the requirements list again, and so you can go ahead and search and see if there's anything else you want to add to this order from your requirements list before you actually send it over. Of course, the order of the columns might be different for you, but you'll see the item number and the ship type over here as well. You scroll to the right, it should show you more stuff like the quantity required, the cost, your stock levels, all that kind of stuff. I'll close this for now. Something else you can do is you can add another item from scratch if you wanted to. So for example, at the bottom here, let's say I wanted to place this order for SB Richards, but in addition to the items that the customer needs, I also need to add another item just for us to have on stock. What we can do is type in another item code down here at the bottom. Click on search or just hit enter. Then we can type in the quantity and all that kind of stuff. And click on save. And now we're going to add this item to our order. And so again, if the customer doesn't need this item on the order, it'll just go ahead and go into your general stock instead of going to the customer. What's left is we can also go to the lines tab if you want to change details about a particular item. So you click on the item you're looking for. And if you want to change the quantity or change the cost or change the description, anything like that before you send it, you can do so here. And so something about the quantity is you can always add more quantity, but it won't let you remove quantity if it's for a customer. So for example, if the customer needs 12 in this case, if we want to change it to 15, we can always add it, add more, but it will never let you go less than 12. So if we try to go to 10, for example, it'll default back to whatever number it was before. That's because it doesn't want you to purchase less than what you need. But if you do need to reduce the quantity, here's how to do it. You're going to click on the item that you need. Then you're going to go to the extension sub-tab right here. It'll tell you all the different allocations for this for the stock here. So you have 3 and 9 required for sales, as it says sales right here. So that means a customer has requested this item. And then the additional 3 I just added as stock. So a total of 12 is for customer orders and 3 is for stock. So if you need to reduce the amount, like if you want to get rid of the one for stock, you can just click on this line here and then click on the trash can up at the top. And now that stock is gone. But let's say in this case, the customer wants 9 for their order, but let's say I only want to purchase 5 for whatever reason. To change this 9, what we'll do is we'll go over here and change this quantity 9 right here to 5. And then click on save. What that's going to do is it's going to split the line. So now we have a line of 5 and a line of 4. So if we wanted to keep the 5, just get rid of the 4. We'll just highlight the 4 and delete here. And so now if we go back to the extension, we have a total of 3 for one order, total of 5 for a separate sales order, for a total of 8 instead of 12 as the original. So it gets a little complicated, but for the most part, if you need to add more quantity, you can add more quantity here. But if you need to delete quantity, you'll have to come to the extension and split it out and then delete whatever you don't need. But that's pretty much everything you need to know on the purchase order here. When you're ready to purchase, you'll just click on the purchase button up here at the top. It'll come up with this window. And you have 2 options. You can purchase electronically or standard. So purchasing electronically will actually transmit it over to SB Richards. They'll fulfill it and they'll actually send you the product. That's what sending it over EDI is going to mean. Or you can do standard purchase only. And if this is ticked, it won't send it to SP. It won't communicate with SP at all. So it'll just put the purchase order on file in the system, but it won't actually contact anybody to purchase it. The reason you might want to pick this option is if you ordered from like SB's website or something, and so you don't actually want to contact them and order it again, but you just want to log the purchase in the system. That's when you want to use standard purchase. But otherwise, you would almost always pick electronic purchase and just hit OK. These other tick marks should be on by default. Different dealers have different settings on what they want to do with the receipt notes and with their dispatch notes. So I would ask somebody before you change any of these settings. We usually default to the correct one here. But I actually do not want to purchase anything. So I'm going to click standard. Then I'm going to hit OK. And then it'll go ahead and go through the system. And that's pretty much everything on purchase orders. If we go back to the lookup, if we're looking at the purchase orders, a couple of useful things that might help. Of course, it'll show you just all the general information on the purchase order here, like the number and the status, and of course, all the totals for your order. But something people find useful is the variance column right here. And so what happens if you send an order via EDI to Ascendant or SP, for example, they'll actually correct the cost. So if you purchase an item and on the PO, you send it as having $5 per quantity on there. And Ascendant might come back and say, actually, it was $5.20 for this item. If they correct the cost, if there's a difference between the cost you sent and the cost they actually give you, it's going to show up in this variance column right here. This is a test database, so we might not have anything in here. Here's one at the bottom here, for example. So when they sent it over to a particular vendor, it actually came out as less. So the what they actually gave you was 83 cents less than what we sent to them. And that's just a quick way to change, or well, basically just take a look at the cost differences and see if maybe your costs are a little wrong. Maybe we need to update the catalog or check the best price files. Depending on what settings you have available, it might allow you to go ahead and update the actual price of the item. So the next time you purchase it will be the most recent price you bought it at from that vendor. But that depends on what settings we have turned on. And I think that's about it for purchasing. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us or check our Freshtest site for other helpful articles. But until then, thank you guys for your time, and I'll speak to you later.